What's up guys, today I'm bringing you a Fisher Blades knife. This is the BECKWITH FS. Now if you haven't seen it, I did an open box video where I actually presented exactly how the package comes, which is pretty damn amazing in terms of how they package everything together. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link to that video if you want to go see it first before watching this. If not, we move on from here. In that video I introduced the Fisher Blades brothers and their history. We're actually going to have them on Blade Talk coming up pretty soon, sometime in the maybe first week of July if everything pans out. But I wanted to get this review in on this BECKWITH FS. It's an American-made knife. It's made with quality, so obviously the price is going to be a lot higher. So everybody's going to kind of have their own opinions and scrutinize every little thing. But having done already a full review on this knife, the heart and soul of this knife is technically a fighting knife. The BECKWITH name came from Colonel Charlie Beckwith, founder of the U.S. Delta Force. That's the back history on the knife as far as how Chaz and John gave it its name. Actually, they developed this after the wildly popular the BECKWITH Covert, which is a smaller version, and this is an elongated version, which I haven't had the Covert in my hands, but I would imagine I would like this a lot better because it does have the longer reach. Now, is it a fighting knife? Listen, I am not one to fight with knives, but you know, if you look up the textbook definition of a fighting knife, it is a full tang knife, it is a good steel, it's very sharp, it's got a tanto blade, which is one of the best blades in terms of you would want on a personal defense type of knife. You have that quick slash movement that you can do with the tip of the tanto tip, which is excellent for that purpose, and it's just such a great slicey knife. Since it is an American-made knife, you could expect to have top shelf fit and finish on the knife, and that's exactly what this has. So if you see the close-ups of this knife, you notice how beautifully the tip is made, how everything is symmetrical in terms of the grip of the knife, and everything all together. It's just a symmetrically, beautifully made knife. No hot spots. I love those beautiful red liners, the jimping on the back of the knife. It's just a very, very well-made knife, and with no hot spots, extremely comfortable. And it just feels right in the hand. It's got some great balance, and it really does feel like something you can definitely move around very quickly in your hand to have that type of fighting knife type of feel. There's a lot of different ways that you can hold this knife with all the attachments that they give you with this knife. I chose to go with like a scout carry right from the side, so I kind of engage with the knife, as you can see, from a reverse grip. Now you notice how you have this lip here on the pommel where your hand just kind of really hugs into it. So this lip that comes up right by your index finger makes it so you can definitely deploy with the knife extremely quick, sure-handed, and you know it's not going to slip. And the grippiness of the handle, the G10, is extremely well done. Very grippy in the hand, but not grippy to the point where it's going to leave marks. It's just, your hand just kind of really sticks to it, like you feel like you're Spider-Man holding this thing. This thing is not coming out of your hand. So in terms of the grip, the contour of the handle, the size of the handle, how you can kind of really get your hand all the way around it, this is definitely an amazing grip to make it for the purpose of being a fighting or self-defense type of knife. Now you notice how fast I was able to deploy the knife, and I was able to bring it back samurai style, just kind of feeling from the spine and clicking and finding the point, clicking it right into place. It's a very easy way to kind of deploy and return this knife, and that's actually a way that I usually use on most knives that you carry to your side. For a fighting knife, use that samurai style from the spine into the hole and click it right in. It's also got a very soft click. It's not a very large locking mechanism, so it's a very soft click, so it's easy to kind of deploy and easy to return. You don't have to really put up too much excessive force to kind of click it into place. So I think that was a very well-made design in terms of the Kydex sheet, to have a very soft open and close, but it won't come out. It stays in place very, very securely. Cutting to that natural material with no problem, slice and dice with no issue. And in terms of even using it on my fake dummy here, you notice how quick I'm deploying it, quick I can strike and come in for a stab, okay? And it's just a great knife for that purpose. So in terms of being a fighting knife, that's exactly what it can do. That's exactly what it's at its heart and soul, and that's really why they developed this knife. I mean, in terms of, in the words of the Fisher brothers themselves, the BECKWITH point was designed specifically as a large format fuck-off blade, and that's exactly what they call it. It's basically fuck around and find out, because you definitely don't want to fuck around and be on the other end of this blade, because it came extremely hair-popping sharp out of the box. I mean, it was out-of-worldly sharp. If you saw my introductory video, you can see basically my amazement at basically how sharp this knife actually comes you know, right to your door. It's a 0.156 Nitro V stainless steel blade. Now, a lot of people had complained about the Nitro V being the price point that it is, but honestly, and I don't want to get into that conversation too much into this video, but it's really not about the steel, but it's about basically how to heat temper it and how they manage the steel, which is more important than the steel that they give you. It's coming from an American company, top shelf quality, top shelf heat tempering, steel management that they're giving you. So the Nitro V did just fine in what I expected this to do. It's an American Tonto style blade. It's got a 25-degree bevel edge. It's behind the edge thickness is about 0.035 inches rather. 4.4 inch G10 with red G10 line. Is very handsome, beautiful looking blade. The overall thickness of the blade is around 0.53 inches. The weight is a very light and manageable and balanced 5.8 ounces. With the sheath, it's only about 8 ounces at your hip. It's made with pride and quality in the good old USA, Montana, USA to be exact. And I can't emphasize enough that textured G10 grip is such a sure, reliable grip, fast draw design. It's made and purpose driven to be a really amazing, quick and easy, quick deployment, easy movement, great penetration, great cutting, personal defense tool. That's exactly what it is. But like I try to emphasize with people, if this is the only knife that you have, can it be a knife that you can rely on to basically survive on with or use for utility purposes, cutting rope, maybe just, you know, kindling some wood and making a fire? How well does the edge retention hold up to doing those types of things? And again, little disclosure, it is made to be a fighting knife. It's not made to cut the normal hard use materials that I normally cut on the big buoys and the knives that are made for bushcraft. But I wanted to basically show you how much you can push using this knife aside from its intended purpose of being a fighting knife. Now, the first thing that I did with this knife, guys, I cut into a steel belted tire. Now, the reason I do that is for a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons I do that, guys. I want to see how the grip feels in my hand, if there's any slippage, and there was absolutely no slippage. This thing really stays glued, solid in your hand. You will not move out of your hand as long as you have that sure grip. And it cut right into the tire, that steel belted all the way around, and it did a great job slicing right into it. Inspected it for damage afterwards, and everything looked absolutely fine. But just to be noted that right after that first test of cutting the tire, and that's the first time I cut with it, it did diminish a little bit in the edge retention, but I was still able to finish up the rest of my testing. Stayed very comfortable in the hand while you're doing some wood kindling. It was making up curls. It's got a great profile for cutting. It's a cutting knife. That's exactly what it is. It's not a banger. It's not something you're going to be batoning with. It's a good, slicey, cutting knife. And that's exactly what it was doing. I was able to cut into rope, into polyurethane rope, cut through some copper wires, being able to do push cuts with no problem. It did all of the cutting I would want a good sharp knife to be able to do with good heat tempering and good steel without getting any damage from doing these tests. Then after doing the steel belted tire, I went into my normal test, which is a steel belted sandblast hose. And this is a very, very tough material. More knives than not have a very hard time cutting through this material, even if you have a very sharp knife with a good cutting profile. It's just a very tough material. With some work, took a little elbow grease, but I was able to kind of penetrate into that steel belted hose, cut through it, and it did okay. Would it be other knives? Obviously have done better, but they have different, some more robust cutting profiles. Again, this knife is not built for these types of testing, but it did do the job well. If this is the only knife you have in your hand and you need to do some good cutting with it, it will do the job. I know what you're saying. It's not a practical thing to cut through steel belted materials, especially with a fighting knife. But just because there was question about the Nitro V steel, I wanted to go through these materials just to show how good the heat tempering and how well the steel was made, because I didn't find any chips or any micro abrasions or anything whatsoever. The steel handled itself fine. It's not only about the cutting, it's also about how well the steel holds up. Fisher Blades has really basically gave you a very good and reliable fighting knife. Now, the fact that the edge retention didn't hold up after I was cutting some paper, and I noticed it wasn't as paper, crazy razor paper slicing sharp. It's still a sharp knife, and still, even after all those tests and going through the really industrial, aggressive steel belted materials, the copper wires and everything I was doing with it, this thing will still basically slice and dice with no problem, and still a great penetrator. And also the fact of the matter is, after doing all that stuff, the edge, even though the edge retention didn't hold up as much as I wanted it to, the edge is fine, no rolls or chips or anything like that. It was cutting, smooth cutter. I know that there's nothing jagged on there that cut, but the edge really did hold up, doing all of that really nasty, very hard pressured material, which again, to emphasize, that's not what this knife was made for. So I would be very, extremely surprised if it did get through all those materials being a fighting knife, but it did get through everything, but it did lose a little bit edge retention. So that's really just to be expected. Stropping this knife, if I can bring the edge back, because that's the important thing. Hard use, but how easy is it to get back a very sharp edge to be able to be paper slicing sharp again? And that's exactly what I did there, boys and girls. I think it's important to show how easy the knife can come back into form after some use. Every knife after use, and especially hard use, the edge is going to diminish. From what I understand, this Nitro V has pretty easy to get the sharpness level back to a point where it can be used the way it was when you ended with it. So honestly, I spent about 10 minutes stropping with and without the compound just to try and get the edge back. And I noticed there was no damage to the edge whatsoever, no chipping, no edge damage or anything, no bends to the point. Everything stayed true and fine. The Nitro V is not a bad steel, man. I don't know why everybody's down on it. I think it's a pretty good, well-rounded steel, and I got it back to a pretty good sharp edge that I started with. For the most part, I started with. I mean, you can see how it's slicing paper a lot easier than it was before. Before, it wasn't really gliding through as it is now. So listen, a little stropping, a little TLC, after you do some cutting, you can bring this Nitro V back into form. So that's an important thing about the Nitro V, this knife, and this Fisher blade. So there you go, guys, the BECKWITH FS. Excellent, really fluid, very nice, easy to basically move around fighting knife. I love this knife. Great penetration, great movement, great grip in your hand. I mean, just the thumb ramp, everything about it is just so comfortable in the hand. Light and nimble, great deployment, and great return. It just is a very fantastic knife for the purpose that they implemented this knife for. And it was able to do a lot more heavier materials. If this was to be your only utility knife you have in your hand, this thing will definitely do your job. So I would definitely be comfortable carrying this thing around for personal defense and doing any other normal everyday cutting. I think this knife would do absolutely fine. Very good quality, American-made knife. Nitro V did well, no damage, was able to strop it, and you can see basically how it brought back more of its razor sharpness with just some simple stropping. So very impressed with the steel, considering what I did with it, considering what it's made for, and very impressed with the fit and finish. The overall beautiful quality of this knife, I really love. So great job, Fisher Brothers, John and Chaz. Very looking forward to having you guys on Blade Talk coming up in July. We'll talk about the knife. If you guys want to join us and talk about the knife and other products they got coming along, because I believe they have a bushcrafting knife coming in, which I'm very curious about. Take a look at the catalog and see it on Blade Talk on my channel and on Scab's channel, Acquire Boys Outdoors. And also take a look at Scab's video. He did a great job also demonstrating and reviewing this knife. I'll leave a link to his video as well. So guys, this is the Fisher Blades BECKWITH FS, a really devastating, beautiful, everyday personal defense knife. It's a pleasure to carry this beautiful red liner knife with me every single day. Have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you on Blade Talk with Scab and Joe with the Fisher Brothers coming up very soon. Subscribe if you're not, and hit that bell icon, and you'll know exactly when it's posted.